And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, proudly coming to you live from our radio and television studios here in beautiful Northwest Pennsylvania, broadcast live, Global Star Radio Network, BTR, that's Blog Talk Radio, as well as YouTube. We have with us right now Erich Pratt, Gun Owners of America. Erich Pratt is the executive director for Gun Owners of America. He's been there since 1990. Now, Gun Owners of America is a national grassroots organization representing more than 1.5 million Americans dedicated to promoting their Second Amendment freedom to keep and bear arms. We are absolutely 100% supporters of GOA, who, by the way, they lobby for the pro-gun position in Washington, D.C. They're involved in firearm issues in the states, all across the United States. Their work includes providing legal assistance to those involved in lawsuits with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Federal Firearms Law Enforcement Agency, of course. And Erich Pratt has appeared on numerous, and I mean numerous, national radio and television programs, NBC Today Show, for example, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, Fox News Cable, and of course the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. His columns also have appeared in newspapers across the country, including USA Today. He authored a book, Bearing Arms, Our Rights, Our Duties, and Our Freedoms. You know, the book itself, the title says it all, in my view. We are so fortunate to have him. Joe, I'm going to kick it over to you since we're Erich-less at this point. So let's bring on Erich Pratt.
Yeah, the website is gunowners.org, gunowners.org. Erich, welcome to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Thank you so much. It is great to be here with you guys.
Well, it's great to have you, my friend. I'll tell you, you are another individual I follow. Dare I say, almost stock. Your information is, your research, your information, your work is fabulous. We thank you for everything you do, the freedoms for which you stand on our behalf, and every American, I believe, should be or is indebted to you for what you do for our freedoms, for those people who don't stand up for the freedoms. And if we don't stand up, we're going to lose them. So having said that, again, thank you. So where are we at today?
And thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, man, your organization is just amazing. And I just can't get enough people to really understand the importance of you, your organization, the freedoms that we have, the necessity that if we don't take care of this freedom, we will lose every other one, to me. So,
well, yeah, it's certainly the one that undergirds them all. Absolutely.
And Erich, I know we have some specific topics we're going to get into tonight. So let's jump right in. The gun control in Europe, and then even gun control within the police force of Europe. And what's the latest there? Wasn't there, didn't the mayor of London recently make a ruling or state that when asked the question about allowing law enforcement to carry weapons, that he stated that that will not happen?
It's really tragic what we're seeing happen, and certainly what happened recently is extremely tragic in London. But, you know, I think it definitely highlights the major differences in the thinking between our two countries and how we responded to evil. As you were just mentioning, in England, much of the police are disarmed, and obviously there's no concealed carry by citizens. And so with this recent attack at the London Bridge, what you saw were unarmed police fleeing the scene. And obviously there were exceptions to that where there were, sadly, one officer only using a baton, not a gun, who ended up suffering major cuts. And you also had brave citizens who were throwing chairs and drinking glasses at the terrace. But obviously there was nothing more at their disposal. Okay. What a difference when you talk about...
I'm sorry. To me, that is insanity. you've got police officers. What are they chasing them around? The
Some
bad
are
guys
running
with
away.
badminton rackets?
Some of the police officers were running away. Some of the police officers with their batons out were actually
Yeah.
wounded. But yeah, I mean, that's what they have. They have their batons.
And that's progressive thought, huh, Eric? I mean, that's, how can anyone embrace that insanity is well, that's beyond me. I didn't mean to
Well,
interrupt. Go ahead, sir.
yeah, it is insanity, and obviously they have the equivalent of what we would call SWAT teams, and that's what appeared 8 minutes later, which, by the way, is pretty good response time, everything considered. But 8 minutes is a long time when people are being run over or slashed or fired upon. 8 minutes is a long time, and too many people died. Yeah, what I was going to say is what a difference in terms of our approach in handling things like this. I mean, obviously, you start from the fact that police are armed in the United States, but more to the point, when you ask police the question, how do you reduce mass casualties and prevent mass shootings, 86% of them respond, the way you do that is with armed citizens, because they're the ones who are the first responders at these scenes, at these crime scenes. And we've actually seen that in our country where several mass shootings have been brought to a screeching halt because there were armed citizens, concealed carry holders on the scene who were able to protect themselves, protect others, stop the shooter before more people were harmed, or before anybody was harmed. And there's lots of examples of that in this country. But, certainly when you look at England, their attitude is, well, as the mayor has said, you've got to accept terrorism as a way of life. Well, I would say, why not accept the alternative, which is, hey, let's let people defend themselves.
You gotta accept terror as a way of life. My patootie. Okay, that ain't gonna happen. And I'll tell you something. In my view, Eric, I know how you feel about this, but reassure me, humor me anyway. Any adult with at least an average IQ and the physical ability uh, and the lack of a criminal record, any responsible adult in America or any Western country where it is permitted should be carrying a weapon. In my view, a handgun. I truly believe that. End of story. Your thoughts?
Well, we would agree with that wholeheartedly. And in fact, Gun Owners of America has been on the forefront. We were the first national organization to push constitutional carry as far back as the 1990s. Vermont was the original constitutional carry state, which is, by the way, and I'm sure you guys know, but for your listeners, it's a permitless carry state. People who are not criminals can carry as a matter of right because it is their Second Amendment protected right. They don't have to get permission. They don't have to be registered like sex offenders. They don't have to pay a tax to exercise their right. We don't do that with any other right, whether it's the First Amendment right or any other right. We don't make people jump through hoops before they can exercise their right. Well, constitutional carry, there's now 14 states, and a lot of these states, the top 5 states in the country, the safest 5 states in the country are constitutional carry states. 4 of them for concealed carry and 1 of them for open carry. In other words, people carrying without getting permission. So this is something that definitely works. The antis, of course, they always want to bring up the objection that, oh, well, there's going to be shootouts and things like that. And, they always talk about it in the conditional sense, like if we do this, there will be shootouts. But the fact is that they can never point to examples like this. Studies actually show that concealed carriers are actually safer than police. They actually commit crimes at a lower rate than police do. And obviously we're not going to argue for disarming the police. So, if we're not disarming the police, why would we do that to a group of people who are actually far safer as a group? So Gun Owners of America, we've been pushing constitutional carry around the country. 2 new states just joined the club this past year, but also at the national level, pushing concealed carry reciprocity, because sadly a lot of states really are. You can, it's an interesting thing. You could drive from Florida to Maine, no problem, in terms of your driver's license. But if you are a concealed carrier, you're not going to be able to drive from Florida to Maine. There are so many loopholes and patchwork system that it makes it simply impossible. And the sad thing is not only has that resulted in people being oppressed, Shaneen Allen is certainly a classic case of that because she fought it. She didn't just take a plea bargain. She's a Philadelphia nurse, a mother of two. She got her concealed carry permit. And she was kind of new to the gun movement. I mean, she got her gun because she'd been robbed twice in person, robbed twice, and she figured, I want to be around for my kids. So she got a gun. What she didn't know, she assumed it was like a driver's license. She thought her permit in Pennsylvania was then good all across the country, and so she was pulled over for a driving infraction, assumably. To this day, I don't even think she knows what she was pulled over for. But she just volunteered to the officer, I have a concealed carry permit. She thought she was doing the right thing, and that just started a nightmare for her, where she was arrested, put in jail, and thankfully, while she was facing 3 to 10 years in jail, Governor Christie pardoned her, and that was something that Gun Owners of America got involved in, getting our members to petition Governor Christie, and so we were very thankful that he did that. But, in other cases, I tell you that there have been some sad cases where people obeying the law didn't take their gun into the neighboring state because they didn't want to be a lawbreaker, even though they could carry concealed in their home state. And there are examples where good people died as a result. They died while they were in that other state without their firearm in incidents where they easily could have protected themselves. So this legislation at the national level is huge. It's Representative Richard Hudson in the House and Senator Cornyn in the Senate have introduced legislation to basically make your Second Amendment right apply all across the country. I know that there are Londoners today. In fact, there's been articles on it recently where activists are appealing to the mayor saying, give us back our right to defend ourselves. And sadly, as you were mentioning earlier, the London mayor is digging in his heels and saying no.
It would be nice to see legislation, as you just pointed out, that was universal. And it shouldn't be the way that you say it is, that the laws say it is, where you have different permits for different states and different laws that apply when you can own a gun in one. People should not be getting arrested if they have a concealed carry permit in one state, and then just for traveling with that same weapon and the permit to another state. That's absolutely terrible that people are getting arrested and the laws are so tight.
And I tell you what, we've tried to make it easy for people. One of the things we do, and our members tell us that they really appreciate about Gun Owners of America, is we make it very easy for them to contact their legislators. Right now, the bill I was mentioning by Representative Richard Hudson in the House, the constitutional concealed carry reciprocity bill, has almost 200 co-sponsors. Right now, at this early state in the Congress, it has the 14th most co-sponsors out of 2,700 bills that have been introduced. I mean, this is really remarkable. Representative Hudson actually publicly commended GOA and our activists for being so forceful and active in getting more co-sponsors on this bill. This thing has a real chance of passing. Obviously, being at almost 200, we're almost at the halfway point, which means it would be guaranteed to pass. The halfway point in the House of Representatives is 218 representatives. And, so people would go to our website at gunowners.org, and at the top of the site, there's alerts that are rotating in the banner. We've already got an alert there dealing with the Hudson bill. We're going to be posting another one in a few hours. And what we do is we provide people pre-written language, and with just a couple clicks, they can send it off to their legislator. And that makes a tremendous difference because they're constantly hearing from our guys. They're constantly hearing from our people. As I've been walking the halls of Congress, I hear from the staffers, oh, yeah, GOA members have been very active and very loud on this issue. That makes a tremendous difference. It's not an accident that we have so many co-sponsors on this bill. that sends a powerful message to the leadership that, if we can get it up to 218 co-sponsors, that makes the leadership's job easy. They like bills that they can bring up and pass. If they bring up a bill, kind of like the health care bill early on, they bring up something and they have to pull it or it doesn't pass, that's egg on their face. They like it when there's something that has a lot of wind, in the sails, pushing it across the finish line. So I encourage people they can easily send off letters. We have the pre-written letters for them, and if they're not already receiving our email alerts, there's a button on the right side of the page. They can click on it to sign up for email alerts, and then that way they'll get it in their inbox.
Very prominent. The website gunowners.org, that's gunowners.org, and supportgunowners.org. By the way, I love that the Trump slump ends, by the way. Gun purchase background checks hit record after terror attacks overseas. Isn't that always the way, folks? But don't wait. Take advantage of your Second Amendment rights and do arm up as quickly as possible. Joe, you had a question.
Yeah, Eric, you said you're in D.C. and walking the halls of Congress. Has the atmosphere or even the attitude of people changed since the Trump election, or what has changed with this new administration, with the latest Congress, if anything? And has it become more more pro-gun or anti-gun?
I think, there's a mix of things, to be honest. On the one hand, there is an optimism, especially by the guys who are hardcore, because rather than being on defense all the time, we can now be on offense. And so there's a certain cadre of legislators who are getting very aggressive. Now, a lot of Republicans are rhinos and they're compromisers, and so we're constantly having to light fires under them. And that's one of the things we do at Gun Owners of America. We light a fire under them, and we don't do it by whining and dining them. We do it by contacting the zillions of people in their districts, in the members' districts, the politicians' districts, and get them in contact with the legislator. And that's what we've found to be a winning strategy. In fact, just, as an example, one of the biggest victories that Gun Owners of America got in recent years was the fact that no gun control passed after the Sandy Hook tragedy. I mean, that was a tragedy, and obviously Obama was using that tragedy to try to voice new gun control group and there new gun controls. And there was a big gun control group, I won't mention their name, but you probably know what I'm talking about, who was trying to forge a compromise with Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Well, once we found out about it, we exposed it to our members. We said, look, we know a lot of you are members of this other organization. Contact them. Tell them you want no gun control at all. Well, as soon as they started lighting up the other organization, they bailed on the compromise. In fact, the New York Times actually documented the whole kind of scenario, the way it went. I know these guys are the biggest purveyors of fake news generally, but they wrote a post-mortem on why gun control died. They were one of the biggest backers of gun control, and they wanted to know, why did gun control die? And from the New York Times on the left to other media outlets on the right, they said the biggest reason gun control died was because of GOA activists, because of the members and activists of Gun Owners of America exposing that compromise and instilling strength into the Republicans on the Hill that were trying to compromise. So, those days of, we're always going to have to fight defensive battles. The exciting thing is that now we are on the offense. And, of course, concealed carry reciprocity is one of the big things. I mean, that's huge, that we have the 14th highest number of co-sponsors on the bill. I mean, some of the ones that are higher are like commemorative bills or cancer research bills. I mean, these are bills like, who can say no to these things, right? I mean, it's the kind of things that, people on the right and left will support. As far as real issue bills, our bill is really one of the highest, close to being the highest or the highest top-ranked bill that would actually accomplish something substantive in policy like reciprocity for Second Amendment rights all across the country. I mean, that's huge. to be able to get that many co-sponsors on such a well, it shouldn't be a divisive issue, but on an issue like the Second Amendment, I mean, that is really huge. So, yeah, there's been a new level of optimism. At the same time, where there's always the weenies that we're going to have to, strengthen them by getting the members in their districts to contact them and say, hey, I want you on this bill. Why haven't you gotten on this bill yet? And we've been doing a lot of that. As you look through our alerts on our website, you see that we just constantly keep hammering them. And the way they can make the pain, the politicians, the way they can make the pain go away is they can get on the bill. They can get on the bill that will support people's Second Amendment rights. So there is a lot of optimism right now, but obviously there is a need for groups like Gun Owners of America to still be there, because otherwise, if we weren't, then, they kind of just go into neutral. And, they have their certain pet projects they want to push, but Second Amendment may not be one of them.
Eric,
I agree.
If we can just, we only have a few minutes left of the interview. Want to move back to Europe before we're out. Do you see any? The rate that the terror attacks have been coming seems to be steady and consistent. We've seen the ones in the UK more recently. Even Iraq today was attacked by had a terrorist attack today, but that's neither here nor there. Do you believe we will see any
still
reason
less
for
than
them?
Chicago, by the way, but go on.
Do you think there will be any reason, or would we see any reason in the near future where Europe would have a change to want to arm their policemen, or do you think that's just a lost cause, or that's their problem?
Well, I certainly hope they would do that and even go beyond that in terms of arming citizens. And there are some countries that are moving that way. The Czech Republic gets it. Their president told their citizens to start arming themselves and to shoot the terrorists themselves. And of course, the liberals went crazy with that kind of talk. That was back in January. Guess what? There haven't been any mass shootings in the Czech Republic since the president said that. Gun sales have been skyrocketing in the country, but it's working. People are defending themselves, and that serves as a deterrent. On the other hand, you have countries that are stuck on stupid, like Germany. I mean, they've got their open borders. They're letting terrorists in. They have this is a country that it is said about them that they have some of the strictest gun controls in the world. So has that eliminated mass shootings? No. Has it eliminated bad people finding other instruments like knives to start killing? No, it hasn't. And they right now have a knifing epidemic. Oh, from last year to now, their knife attacks have increased 1,200%. And sadly, with many of them, the person doing the knifing is yelling Allahu Akbar, or they're killing somebody else because they're eating during Ramadan. I mean, you see what's going on there. But, I mean, again, this is a country where the citizens in public are defenseless. And look, where guns are banned, the knife-wielding man is king. And, as long as Germany is stuck on stupid that way, they're going to continue to have problems, whereas countries like the Czech Republic are experiencing relative safety going the armed citizenry approach.
Amen to that. And we need here in this country, we need to take care of our problems first and foremost. Eric, how can we tell our audience again, those people here in the United States, we have a vast listening audience here in the U.S. as well as worldwide, but if you're listening to this broadcast anywhere in the 50 states, not 57 by the way, but 50, how can we best how can we best help you? How can we best help ourselves, my friend?
Absolutely. The easiest way is to go to our website at gunowners.org, sign up for our free alerts, and obviously right there above it, there's a button to join GOA. It's $20 a year. I mean, look, a box of ammunition is going to cost you more than that. I mean, that's the best bargain in town, and that keeps us on the front lines fighting the fight. In terms of emails, we don't load up your inbox. You'll get one, if no more than 2 emails during the week, which is keeping you abreast as to what's going on here in Washington. Now, I would also encourage people, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We give out a lot of good information there. But a lot of the real here's the action that we need, and providing people the pre-written letters that I was talking about earlier, that comes through the email alerts. So, I just encourage people to hit the black box on the right-hand side of the website, sign up for email alerts.
Fantastic. And I encourage everyone to join GOA, Gun Owners of America. That's gunowners.org. In fact, we here at the studio individually are going to be doing that as well today, and urge every one of our listeners to do it, to support your organization, to be informed, and to be armed. God bless you. Thank you so very much for your gift of time. And I know, taking time out of your busy schedule is sometimes it's a pain in the butt. But thanks for coming on, and we really appreciate it, my brother. We really do.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you again for having me on. I appreciate you guys. God bless.